Cursed Trials, we're about to have Forsen battle off against Kibler. And as you may have quickly noticed already, Kibler is not a druid player. Now, does he know something that we don't, or does he just refuse to to go along the mainstream? Will Kibler forever be a hipster? We'll have to see.
The answer to both those questions is probably yes. I think Kibler knows that the dragon synergies are very strong. And I think the second thing is that I think Kibler also understands that he is the dragon master, so he has to play dragons. In fact,
Dragon Shaman?
I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying do not be surprised if for some reason Kibler decided to put Blackwing Corruptors in their shaman deck.
That's not.
Just because.
Oh, there's no way. Oh, come on. There's money on these players are playing for $30,000. And now Kibler has gotten away with some very peculiar deck and card choices in the past. It's certainly worked out very well for him in a few specific tournaments. Yeah, I'm going to be a hater. I'm saying that no druid is a pretty big disadvantage. Usually when one deck is super popular, it's teched against and it doesn't do all that well. And that's why, sometimes you see the hipster players doing actually the best, especially in the bigger, sometimes the open tournaments. But I don't think that applies to this tournament. I think in this tournament, there's just like an endless supply of surprises that the good old standard and true, the decks that you think are broken, are probably the good ones. And I think Druid certainly qualifies.
Yeah, I think you have a really good point. I think Druid's just too strong of an overall deck. So even if you want to curtail your strategy to kill Druid, it's still going to be one of those matchups that probably still you could lose. And then your entire strategy crumbles and you sacrifice your own win percentage to do that. We see people do that against Secret Paladin in tournaments. We see people do that. And let's go ahead and turn back the clock to like the Undertaker Hunters, the Miracle Rogues, the Patron Warriors. You can cater your entire strategy to it, but they still take a win sometimes, especially in Conquest. So I'm in your camp. I think not bringing Druid is something that ultimately will hurt you more than help you. But it's not going to stop me from cheering from Kibler to go on with his dragon decks. And there we see it. The Brand Bronzebeard combo with the Druid stuff, with the Dragon stuff. And Forsen, of course, he's going to be playing the Aggro Shaman, but he's got some interesting twists to it with the Flame Juggler and Elemental Destruction, Unbound Elemental, excuse me. There's so many things with that, but you can go ahead and explain this deck. Do you like these variations of the Aggro Shaman Crypt?
I have seen Flame Juggler, at least in current tournament play, be extremely successful. So I think Flame Juggler just is an okay inclusion. I think the game is very different. So I might actually disagree with Flame Juggler in this format, because there is no, hey, I'm just going to play 3/1/1s this turn. There's really none of that if you take away GVG and Naxxramas. So it's going to have fewer situations where it's going to work, but I think it's still a pretty staple card. Unbound Elemental is one of those cards that I feel doesn't work all that well in the meta right now, but with it slowed down, yeah, I can see it working. It's just that Crackle was something that you'd play in every single Shaman deck, and not having Crackle kind of makes it a little bit worse, and it already not seeing too much play. I think that's maybe a little bit weirder, actually, than the Flame Juggler.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Like, part of what made Flame Juggler really strong was, like you said, all those little tokens that came out from Haunted Creeper, from Muster for Battle, even the periodic the trades against Shredder, which usually has lower health, but it's just so sticky. I agree a lot with what you're saying, but it's also a little bit of damage, and it's more resilient to things onto the board because it's a 2/3. So if you can get 2 hits in, it's almost worth its weight already. And maybe Forsen has an opportunity to squeeze in enough damage for it to be worth it. And I do want to say that I think Forsen, for better or for worse, flies under the radar for how he navigates a lot of these decks like Hunter and Zoo, and even to the extent Aggro Shaman. He has a very strong basic understanding of it because he's played it so much, and he's also had to multitask so much on his own personal stream because he gets distracted very often, and yet he still can get a respectable win rate. So I anticipate Forsen to be very well versed in how this deck's supposed to be played.
All right, looks like Kibler went with the taunt minion rather than the Bran and Twilight Whelp. Coming into play with Bran already in play doubles the health buff. So it's a 1 mana 2/5. You know, sign me up. I want some of those.
Yeah, definitely. Being able to have those stats is just so crucial. The really cool thing too is being able to see how Kibler differentiates his build from Tice. Tice has cards like Farseer, and then Kibler has cards like Chill Maw, and both of them deal with aggro in very different ways. One is very proactive onto the board with just a taunt, but its effect is not always guaranteed. And then Farseer is pretty consistent in what it does very early in the game, but its effect isn't nearly as powerful. So there's trade-offs here and there. I think ultimately I favor the Farseer a little bit more for its consistency, because ultimately the Chill Maw sometimes it's too late to play it. There's like you're gonna die anyways, or it doesn't even trigger at all.
Ooh, it looks like Bran is gonna stay in play, which means that Corruptor is gonna do 6 at will.
Dude, that's nasty. You can kill off this Unbound Elemental, which is one of the crux to your board damage. I think this is a card that Reynad really tried putting in initially to the Aggro Shaman. A lot of people didn't really like it because it was like slow, and it just feels like you'd rather have more burn damage or just like faster minions like Knife Juggler. But I mean, looks like he's gonna be able to hold on to at least one of them with some pretty good impact on the board.
I wonder how this is gonna work though. The only clear that's available costs him the Unbound Elemental, which I wouldn't be too happy with. Oh, I guess Lightning Bolt on the 5/4 and the 2/1, and then that would push the Unbound out of range. But it looks like Forsen's more interested in doing some face damage here.
Yeah, but that's gonna mean Chill Maw has a pretty significant impact. Kibler willingly trades into the minion, which exposes his Blackwing Corruptor to dying as well. Chill Maw does 3 damage as an AoE, but I think this is hedging your bets against Earth Shock of some kind off the top. Oh man, because of it, that Blackwing Corruptor not being able to kill off another minion might be a big deal, but it looks like Forsen is pretty much officially out of steam here and just needs to top deck the answers. Hungry Dragon!
Oh no!
The Pit Snake is gonna happen.
That has happened a few times. It's happened a few. Like, someone made like the prediction and then it happened to me the same day.
Oh god.
But in my favor. I was happy. It was,
okay.
It was like turn 4, play nothing, lose a card. It was a good play by my opponent.
Yeah, it's basically kind of like those cards from that adventure boss in Blackrock Mountain where the dragon kept giving you cards because you had to play them, but they did so much damage to you and stuff. So, like, taking a look at the hand, though, Kibler chooses to play the Azure Drake just to draw and cycle. He ended up having Harvest Golem. I'm anticipating he really wanted cards like Sludge Belcher, Unstable.
No, I think by playing the Azure Drake first, he was looking for exactly Holy Smite. Because if otherwise, you'd play the Power Word Shield first to get more options. Because if you play the Azure Drake first, you only have 1 mana left. So I think that play is revealing that he has exactly Holy Smite, and that's exactly what he's looking for.
Yeah, I was saying, from the Discover, I was pointing out that you can discover cards within GVG and Naxxramas. There's no restriction on that.
Absolutely.
Because there might be a scenario where you discover 3 cards from different expansions in there, and then you can't play that card at all. So it was just one of those things where, okay, if you have a Discover card with that, or an Unstable Portal, you can play it.
Yeah. That's not going to be the case from my understanding in the actual standard format once it is released, though. I believe cards given through random card factories will not cross the borders between the formats.
Yes, so at least that's the plan. But you can always change it depending on how things go. Forsen's all in.
Scarab would be insane.
Yeah, Jewel Scare would be really good. Especially if, even Museum Curator. There's some really good rattle minions that will leave the metagame once it's gone.
Discover next Ramus card.
That might be a legitimate card that they Stop giving them ideas, Crib.
What? That sounds cool.
Discover a legendary minion from GVG.
Discover Dr. Boom.
Discover and it's just 3 Dr. Booms. Or you can pick Boom in the middle, left Boombot, right Boombot.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kibler is just going to try to stay alive his best here, but it looks like he's probably going to be able to do that. At this stage, as the shaman, you need very specific cards immediately, and that is not one of those cards in question.
Yeah, Feral Spirits is very good in the very beginning of the game with Tunnel Trog or even things like Totem Golem if you can get out early enough, because it protects those high attack minions to just get repetitive damage. And now that the Feral Spirit is out here, it's just way too late. Oh, look how much Kibler wants to kill aggro. He even has Defender of Argus in his Dragon Priest deck, so that way he can taunt up things like Twilight Whelps. You know, give him a lot of board presence. Jeez. This is complete domination.
Spell damage totem is much more important here. Even though you want to take out damage, you have to take out those spell damage totems.
Now, Kibler's not playing around Elemental Destruction, but it doesn't matter. Forsen doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And that's going to wrap up the game here.
All right. Well, Dragon Priest gets a pretty nice win once again against Shaman. It does seem...
I mean, that's the deck it's good against, and that you'll expect to see a lot.
Yeah, it is right, but it feels like against that specific matchup, it's just not any better than Warrior, because Warrior can shut down the minion creation with weapons a little bit earlier, and the Warrior has more health bounce than the Priest does. So it seems like the Warrior would do better against Shaman than the Priest, but it actually hasn't really turned out to be that way. So maybe a lot of the Warrior games we've seen so far have just been on the backside of some bad RNG. But we will see one once again here. See the merits of the Dragon Warrior once again.
And he gets another shot at redemption against the Druid deck. I mean, I kind of made I didn't feel like it was a bold prediction when I said we'll see a lot of Dragon Warrior, but we're seeing it quite often. And frankly, I kind of like it. But against this matchup, though, I'm not sure, Crip, because the more I see the Druid, the more it's like, it's still just as scary as it was before.
Yeah,
it's not more. It's even more scary because you don't have Belcher or anything to worry about to get through complicated trade damage.
Well played.
Sylvanas, very good card. The Druid has a really good next turn, but I feel you have a pretty bad 2-turn play here. Like, you have the Druid of the Claw if you want, that's fine. Yeah, if he does swipe, he actually has a lot of flexibility. Even though it looks like a really bad play, it does keep him very open to a wide range of plays next turn.
Yeah.
So swipe is probably the best 2-turn play that he has.
That's right, because he keeps the coin, therefore he can respond with Coin Sylvanas if it gets, if he wants to be proactive onto the board. Also, Drew the Claw, he can keep the coin for a 7-mana card if he draws it next turn. I mean, I like keeping the coin just for its versatility, like you said.
Alright, looks like Sylvanas is going to come down.
I have no time for games.
What is the answer here?
I think you just have to ignore it, right? You just play...
Oh, slam! No, that's the answer.
Oh!
You can slam your own minion, dunk it in there, and throw a bash at it.
And deal with Sylvanas right here, because I don't think Dragon Warriors commonly run silence cards. So, and even if you do, it's very hard to draw into it right now.
Actually, I think
deal with Sylvanas now. I like it.
I think the best play is to slam your own minion first, because you could draw a weapon, and you'd rather use a weapon than a bash.
Oh, that's also a fantastic point when you put it that way. I like it a lot, because the weapon will preemptively make it, so that way you can use Blackwing Corruptor and Bash to start removing pieces. Also, something I noticed that it's also coming up on turn 6. Your opponent ready to use coins, so you have
to... He plays the Dragon. That would have been the best card in the deck.
Oh no!
Now we actually have to deal with the issues of the Sylvanas.
Well, I mean, you can still trade in, and like if your opponent develops no minions on board, like then you can probably pick apart the trades and whatnot. But like most likely you'll be able to trade into Sylvanas or trade into Sylvanas and not lose much. So that's why I can understand here. Look at this from Forsen, stealing the Azure Drake to climb ahead on board. I like it. It's cute. And 4 health is like just annoying enough for your opponent to not be able to cleanly deal with it. There's no Death Spite, right? It's just Blackwing Corruptors, Bash, Fiery War Axe. Just annoying enough.
Arcanite Reaper. I have to tell you, I have played Arcanite Reaper and Control Warrior, and there's a special kind of envy you have towards Death Spite whenever you play an Arcanite Reaper. Every single time you play Arcanite Reaper is like, damn man, I just killed a minion with 4 health again.
Yeah, but there is one thing to be said though. The nice thing about Arcanite Reaper is when you're like trying to kill off the Emperor, and you're just on that turn where you need the Death Rattle effect immediately, and you don't have it. So sometimes it ends up being okay.
Yeah, the Arcanite Reaper is a card that's used every now and then, but it's mostly for the face type of warriors. It's the Arcanite Blast. That's what it is.
Yeah, the Pyroblast Arcanite Reaper. I like it, man. I was actually playing a deck where I had like insane amount of weapons in Arena Draft, and just like I just kept going face. I had like Gore Howl, 3 Death Spite, a Curse Blade, and an Olga Warmaul. No. Well, taking a look at the hand from Kibler here, you do have some ways to start loading up your own board, but if you're playing like a lot of these spells, when do you get a chance to play these minions, right? If you play Slam, at best you can develop 1 minion, so he has to kind of pick and choose how he wants to go about it. Also, another thing, too, is War Axe is very awkward. This is the biggest reason why Warrior sometimes struggles with Druid, is because you can't get value off of things like the War Axe very often, outside of things like Darnassus Aspirant.
Well, the idea is, I think if you don't bash, you can bash next turn for 4 with Driv. But it looks like he just wants to clean up the board as fast as possible. I don't blame him for that.
But it's one of those things where you have to evaluate, if he took the line where he was able to equip the weapon beforehand, he would have been able to develop a little bit stronger this turn while picking apart removal. But, I mean, at this point, you just have to roll with the punches you get. And again, 4 health minions! So annoying. Every single time.
Oh, man.
This is, by the way, 2 Savage Combatants. So when you hero power, that's a 5 damage hit from the face.
Maybe
every turn, which is kind of like just mind blasting your opponent every turn or kill commanding.
Well, the most efficient tempo play would be to slam and then play the 2/3 drops.
Well, let's see what he draws. He can still get like executes. Kibler
Every
just
deck.
really wants to get pit snaked for his YouTube channel. And then inevitably
maybe no. It's gonna be that one time where the only way he stays alive is by donating a zombie chow to his opponent, and then it's gonna happen exactly at that moment.
That's so funny, man. Zombie chow to heal for 5.
Yeah.
You know, Force of Nature actually clears the board if you feel Force of Nature hero power, but I don't know if that's the best play, considering that you also can develop some minions here.
I wonder.
Depends on what you prioritize. Plus, with cards like Mounted Raptor, I'm sure there's more sticky minions that you want to load onto the board.
Yeah, I think Keeper, Mounted Raptor, and Hero Power also clears the board, and you just keep your Force of Nature. I like that a lot better. You have to be Keeper on the 3/5. And Hero Power on the 3/5, and then just the Savage Combatant kills the monkey.
It's the same thing either way.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Okay. This play is also very good too. It's more mana efficient. I like it. More minions onto the board. I was just throwing out the first play that I really thought of, but this is very clean too. And
maybe go face here actually, because your minions aren't too vulnerable to the 3/5. Yeah.
well, I don't know. I mean, Kibler's willing to play cards like Defender of Argus into his deck, so there is that small. I mean, you know that.
But but in Warrior, that seems much less likely.
Well,
you think he has Argus in this one too?
I'm not saying I know or I think he does. I'm saying there is that remote possibility, but I think I like the face attack anyways. You have Force of Nature. Your hand's telling you to be slightly aggressive with the board, so I agree on it. What can you draw if Kibler needs to draw here? I don't think he can draw anything that he'd just rather play the Blackwing Corruptor and the Fiery War Axe.
Man.
The 1 damage being such a nuisance to Kibler here. If he goes for the Blackwing Corruptor too, it's not like he can full clear because the Mounted Raptor's just sticky.
You know what would be a good weapon right now? Death Spite.
Ogre Warmaw. To hit
No,
for
that's
the
GPG. Illegal!
Oh, it's in GPG, you're right. Ah.
That's the ogres.
God. I'm just referencing other cards that was not Death Spite, but you're absolutely right. How could I forget?
Oh.
It's 11 damage.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry,
2
12
off.
damage. 2 off.
Can you draw lethal with the Azure Drake? I don't believe so.
Nah, doesn't look like it. You don't have enough mana to play Force of Nature right afterwards, and even if you drew Innovate, you wouldn't be able to do anything else anyways.
Yeah, and Savage Roar is the same amount of damage as a Force of Nature this turn.
But Swipe would be pretty awesome, I think, to control a little bit of the
You
board.
could consider like a bit of a hybrid play. Like you just go face with all that junk and you clear out the 5/4 with the Force of Nature. But I don't know. I'm tempted to go all in at the same time.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty low chance your opponent has like the Alex Straza to punish you. And even then, you still have an out with Force of Nature, so... Oh, sorry, with Savage Roar, with the Force of Nature. I don't mind that. See what Killer draws. Is it Zombie Chow time?
That is a pretty good card though. That does help him clear a little bit, and it might end up being the card that keeps him alive here.
Well, he's going to draw first with Azure Drake. Still can pick up Bash or something really useful for 3 mana.
Shield block would be quite nice as well.
Oh, there's that 1 damage you needed last turn. So there is that cool Taskmaster. Oh, man. Talk about sticky minions for like that Force of Nature, Savage, or whether the other stuff to be really hard to remove.
Yeah.
And is that it? Like Kibler can't really.
No,
remove?
he's on Zombie Chow. He's on Zombie Chow patrol right now.
Maybe.
Well, he already killed off the Mounted Raptor, so he can't
He has
actually
his
do
weapon.
anything.
Yeah, with a weapon. Weapon killing Zombie Chow is 9. Oh no, you're right. Even Zombie Chow doesn't save him. Even if it's Zombie Chow, it's exact lethal.
Yeah. All right, well, that's going to wrap up the game here. So Forsen strikes back, kills off the warrior deck, which once again is floundering a little bit, Crip. 1 and 5.
You know. You win 1, you lose 5. What's the big deal?
You know, you just have to win 1. I mean, if the other 2 decks can bring you to the victory point here, the game point, it just has to win 1 game. That's what the conquest is. In the meantime, Druid's still doing pretty good. I think outside of mirror matches, it definitely has a positive win rate. So
Absolutely.
very much expected. You know, one class that we didn't really talk about here from Forsen is the Mage. And
Yeah.
one of the things that people bring up all the time is Mad Scientist being eliminated because it was involved in next Rammus adventure, making Freeze Mage significantly worse when you have to draw the secrets and play it from hand. So, do you think Forsen's bringing Freeze Mage at all?
It's possible. Freeze Mage was still a deck in Classic. It was a very dominant deck, in fact. And one of the main tools against Freeze Mage is also out, which is Loatheb. So I think there will still be some room to play Freeze Mage, but yeah, I don't.
Doesn't look like it.
I don't think it'll be as good as it once was.
Wow. Forsen has a super aggressive hand. He's going to hold on to the coin here so that he can play Knife Juggler, Coin, Mirror Image. But that conveniently allows Kibler to armor up and then bash the Knife Juggler through the mirror, the taunts.
He could just play the Knife Juggler and nothing, and then do Knife Juggler, mirror image. Ah, the juggles.
Muster for mirrors.
God.
Basically, just like keep doing juggles all across the board with these 0-2s.
These are very frustrating to deal with, though. In all seriousness. Oh, Bran. Well, that synergizes real well with
Hungry Dragon.
Hungry Dragon. Twice as many potential zombie chows. It's that one time when you need
Heal for
10
10.
life. Yeah, exactly.
Oh. I imagine that Kibler's just going to immediately remove that second juggler. 2 jugglers, 2 bashes. Forsen obviously going to be pretty upset with that, but he's got Spell Slinger for the immediate recovery. Healing Wave!
Oh, if the opposite was true, that would have been ridiculous.
Yeah, Wind Fury behind 4 taunts. You know what he's gonna... Oh, he can't get Unstable Portal, can he? So, I was thinking about ways to use his Healing Wave effectively. I mean, realistically, there might be a big minion that he has, which Healing Wave could be useful, but he's gonna definitely need some more help off of some of the draws.
We see BGH in Kibler's Warrior deck, and I think out of all the decks, this is probably the most appropriate, as he has the double Cruel Task, which can push 5 attack minions into range.
Oh, I like that. Good observation, Crip. Because Cruel Taskmaster, with so many druid stuff being at 5 attack, like, you know, the Ancient of Lords, the Archmage, not the Archmage, the Thorsen, definitely opportunities to use Big Game Hunter, versus if you're playing a bunch of aggro decks all the time, you might not have an opportunity to. That's a really good card against Warrior as well, having the Water Elemental.
Well, I think he'd also be... Like, if you're playing this type of a deck, you would be playing Flame Wave here.
Ooh.
This is a pretty decent hand for all of that.
Really trying to get as much mileage as you can out of like the mirror images. Doesn't want to give it up for essentially nothing and let your opponent pick it up.
I mean, was there any doubt? Second Hungry Dragon.
You know what I want to see, Crip? I want to see some opportunity for like Gromosh to be Wind Fury and just hit for 20. I don't think we'll actually get to that point. Realistically, you might even Wind Fury now and just clear the taunts, but that would have been awesome as a surprise finisher. Good stuff.
There's Arcane Blast.
Oh, not bad. Board clear.
Water Elemental's good here. You can clear the board. And then you have Water Elemental behind Taunt, which is perfect.
Yeah, and Kibler does have access to a weapon, but he can't activate the Execute onto the Water Elemental just yet.
Now
he can. Wow, what a good draw once again from Kibler. And he absolutely
Do you want to
should
use it, though?
consider executing it.
You think he should use it? I don't think he has to.
He doesn't have to, you're right, because he's not under immediate threat.
Oh, there.
But, you know, he has 2 executes, and the Cruel Taskmaster is also board presence, too. So I think this is pretty good. Plus, the Cruel Taskmaster is, like, good, so that way you can potentially answer the next 1-drop of Hungry Dragon number 2 coming out. So I think it's appropriate.
I don't like the Fireball here. Even though it's a good target, I think it's also a good opportunity to play the Conjurer. You're really not going to get anything much better than that.
Wow, discover a secret. Counterspell is... It's not as good as you'd think against Warrior, because they have so many cheap spells for removal, like Slam, Bash, Execute. It's not going to stop, like, Flame Strike levels of relevance. Whoa!
That is a draw.
Blackwing Corruptor on a 6.
Battle Cry deal with your opponent's last turn. That's what you want every turn.
Oh my goodness. And Forsen is continuing to lose more board, and Warrior's going to be the one putting pressure on. So he's going to need some help here, because he's got 2 fireballs, but nowhere near the lethal range that he's expecting to be at turn 9.
Wow, I'm surprised to see that. I feel like the Frostbolt Fireball worked out pretty well. I guess he could still do that and leave it at 1. But it looks like instead he'll probably play the secret. Okay. I don't love it, but okay.
I mean, he had 21 damage of burn, but still can't really direct it. Something to worry about is Mirror Entity, so Kibler might play Big Game Hunter first to trigger potential Mirror Entity, and then if it's Mirror Entity, you can kill it with the Fiery War Axe, and if it's not, you can just play Hungry Dragon and then address the 1-drop afterwards.
It's important to note that whenever you see a secret played that was manufactured by a different card, or created from the card, you can see that. It will say that it was created by a specific card. So when you see the secret being played, you can see that's created by the Ethereal Conjurer. So you know the distribution on secrets is the full spectrum. It's not the expected secret in the deck.
Okay, that's a good observation to make as well. It looks like Kibler just wants to be more aggressive onto the board. He could have executed if it was a mirror entity anyways. Now, Forsen is completely forced to play defensive here. Oh, that's a good Flame Waker.
Yeah, but it could be a really bad Flame Waker.
He's gambling.
Oh, he did it. That was a really good Flame Waker. Oh, Nixia!
Oh my God, Nixia! Brian Kibler, welcome to the show. This is exactly what he wanted to see, like obscure dragons being played. That is one happy camper. We haven't seen a Nixia since the days of Druid experiment.
That counterspell was huge, because now he's got all these spells that he can actually clear the board with.
Uh-oh. Yeah, the Fireball, if this was able to kill off Onyxia with all these Arcane Missiles, which is a perfect draw here. And I mean, he can also heal the Flame Waker back into, and get some more procs here, and then use the hero power to clean up.
Sure.
I mean, this could be a Forsen comeback.
Wait.
Wow, loses the joust, never lucky. Of course, healing a Flame Waker is completely unnecessary for 14.
Man, return of the Flame Waker, look at that.
Wow. Well, let's see if Kibler can pick up yet another dragon. Is it like Chromagus time or something? Uh-oh, I don't have a good feeling about this.
It's the 4 again!
He's got the board control, but it doesn't really matter because the Cool Taskmaster comes out. And again, that healing wave, making sure that the Flame Waker doesn't get picked off by the Cool Taskmaster.
Here's where we have a really big never lucky opportunity here.
Here we go, here we go!
Wow, Shadow Flame! Never lucky!
What is going on? Another boar? It's just, this game is not boring at all, Crip.
Alright.
Yeah. That just happened.
Well, it looks like Forsen's out of steam with a mage, though. I think this Shadow Flame is the start of the end. Oh, never mind. Crush kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's just funny because I don't usually expect something like Crush.
Yeah.
That's why it might be the perfect answer to like an Antonitis on the board.
Well,
Maybe
I mean, at this stage, are you going to just pass because you're comfortable
so.
with your opponent
yeah,
developing?
you're taking 3 a turn.
Oh, another card for Big Game Hunter to Shadow Flame.
Yeah, that's
So quick, he bugged the spectator mode. Uh-oh,
I
we're
guess
gonna have
it
to flip POVs here.
all right. Well, let's see what's maybe we can see in the graveyard section. What's going to end up being lost? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
certainly the Shadow Flame on the Big Game Hunter is going to come down. Kibler not even developing the Alex Strauss's champion. I guess he's just going to keep it and play really defensive, but the board most likely is clear from this point. And, like, without Dr. Boom, your only late game that I can think of is probably, like, Ronin or Antonitis. Maybe you have both in the deck, though. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear that the game plan here for Mage is to find some way to burn, but it's like he used both Fireballs, both Frostbolts, and Kibler looks like he's finally developing some of his board minions. So it's kind of a shame because like right now it's like the most exciting part. It's the top deck wars after there's a bunch of slugging back and forth. But from here, I can definitely say that he's in a strong advantage.
Crush is a GVG card. Uh-oh. Yeah, you gotta type that in. You never know for sure, right? Like Crush, where is that from?
Crush is from Goblins versus Gnomes. Whoa, this is awkward, Crip.
Looks like Forsen might have a chance in this game after all.
I would almost up his win percentage to 100, but I'm not sure against this deck. Because I'm pretty sure Kibler didn't get that off Spellslinger, right?
No, he got the
Okay.
Shadow Flame off Spellslinger. Yeah, the Crush was just in the deck there, and yeah, I'm not sure what'll be the resolution here. I think we'll maybe hear from the admins pretty soon. But that match is on hold for now. We had a few technical difficulties that we'll try to fix here in just a moment. But in the meantime, as we mentioned, that the loser round is not going to be streamed, just for the sake of time and flow. So the loser round from the A match and the B match was Archon Amnesiac versus Tempestorm Eloise. And the results of that are in. It is a 3-0, I believe, against Eloise. So Amnesiac will go to the decider match, and Eloise is the first player to exit the tournament.
My work is paramount.
Ooh, not very. It never feels good to go 0-6 as any player, as any team. So Ellie's definitely probably punished a little bit for her deck choices, but we'll probably find out more information about how everything pans out. But in the meantime, a great rebound win for Amnesiac because he really was looking for an opportunity to redeem himself after being so close to beating Tice. We've rejoined the game here, as looks like Crip, the Water Elemental, is keeping that King's Defender completely in check. Another card that Kibler seems to have agreed with Eloise on as a card. And now it looks like the Mage is out-carding the Warrior, but it's only got removal stuff.
I have to say that I think from what we've seen out of these Warrior decks, that the Arathi Weaponsmith is my preferred choice.
I like it a lot. I think for what Warrior needs to do, like, just more removal stuff and tempo onto the board is pretty powerful for Dragon decks in general. And you never know, man, that, like, 2 damage weapon might be, like, the stopgap in between the Blackwing Corruptor being completely effective, having Bash be, like, a perfect piece of removal with stuff. Because right now, I mean, Kibler is actually falling really far behind, because that Water Elemental is keeping everything in place. I was ready to call Kibler the champion because his quality of draws would be much better. But once again,
that's a big card.
Picking up Ethereal Conjurer.
I like the Mirror Entity actually a lot, because when you're going top deck mode, you haven't even seen that many big minions from Warrior. At least from what we've seen. I mean, it could have been maybe one played in between. There's a good chance. Oh, no. Looks like the spectator mode has had to cooperate.
Twilight Guardian. Just going to summon another minion on the other side. And the board is building ever more. Kibler's going to have to look for Brawl at this point. Because one thing that these very slow defensive Warrior decks don't have is card draw. And also, but Forsen's almost out of cards. Realistically, he could end up just running out of threats if Kibler can find a way to remove the board in one
Sure,
spell.
one card remains.
Almost out of cards.
Is it Brawl?
2 cards. Oh.
Wow. So 6, 10, 12, 13 damage. I think Forsen used almost all of his burn. That's 1 extra damage, so 6, 10, 13, 14 damage, putting Kibler at 3 health. Unless he wants to ping and remove the board, so...
Looks like he is going to go for the removal on the board, just in case the last card is Brawl.
Alright, Kibler, what you got? Your last card. Is the last card Brawl?
Oh, that's a good last card, but it's too slow in this case.
We see all 30 cards, and looks like we finally got also a ruling here. One of the things that we were worried about is whether or not Kibler gets disqualified directly, but looks like the ruling is Forsen's match is already being played here, so it'll be up to Forsen's discretion if he lets Kibler change the Crush card this series, because Kibler still has to play that Warrior deck again. And they immediately queue up. So
honestly, I think I'd just let him have Crush, right? Because if you let him change a card, you can kind of get countered a little bit. Because being able to change the card after the series has started gives you a bit of an edge.
Yeah. Plus Crush,
it's a tricky one.
That great of a card.
No.
To include. So I almost think that it's like a good handicap. Or maybe put it. I don't know. Like, because I think you'd even sometimes rather have like a pretty bad card to play early on. Because Crush could be 7 mana sometimes, and you'd rather have like target dummy. I don't know.
Also with Forsen taking that win, he has the Shaman. I think he'd love a Crush on the other end.
Yeah.
7 mana, remove a 1-drop, right?
The more I think about it, the more I'm willing to take it on Forsen's side.
Yeah. But we'll see. Maybe I'm sure with so many things up in the air and so much of this new deck and new card structure that there are a lot of angles that we can't realize from the point that we stand. I'm sure there's a bit more to it. And at the same time, I wouldn't be too surprised to see if the call was made to ask him to change the card out. But I doubt it.
Gotcha.
Forsen does take the win, though, so it didn't really matter that Kibler had the Crush in that game. Forsen still has to win with the Shaman. Kibler has his own Shaman, and Kibler has this Warrior that has not worked out for really anybody.
I was really expecting Onyxia to potentially swing the board, but that Flame Waker being able to turn it around was just the difference maker, because he would have closed it out with 2 hits to the face with the Onyxia. Would have been a completely different scenario. And would have put us honestly in an awkward spot, because then it's like, he played Crush, does he deserve to actually get that win?
Forsen chose to let Kibler keep the Crush.
Yeah.
Well,
good call. Forsen understands exactly what Crush is and exactly what his deck does. The biggest thing you'll crush is this Unbound Elemental, most likely on turn 7, unless you somehow let Armor Smith survive. So that'll probably be the case here.
Leave it to Kibler to use a card he shouldn't use, and then it's not even good.
Pretty funny stuff. Pretty decent draw for both players here, getting early curves. And I think if it comes down to it, would you rather be the Warrior or the Shaman that has good draw on the curve here?
I think it's more important for the Warrior. Because the Warrior has all the answers. It's just unlikely that you line them up in sequence. Like, the Warrior has the better answers, but Shaman is more of a consistent opener.
Yeah, I think
looks like the Shaman has the better hand, though.
Well,
I like the Shaman here.
I mean, it has a lot more explosive potential to follow up on the Unbound Elemental growing with, like, the Ancestral Knowledge card. So I kind of like that, because like one of the things that you're worried about is if Warrior removes enough to the point where you don't really have many cards and you're left top decking. So cards like Ancestral Knowledge are super clutch in those scenarios.
I think I would have liked to see the attack there, because like you have nothing in your hand to actually deal with this the next turn, so why not? Okay, apparently you just draw that.
Yeah,
well, that works.
Perfect.
Yeah, okay. I'll just be quiet now.
Well, I mean, that's always the thing, right? There's a common joke within I think the Asian scene. Like, I think the Chinese community, that's always like one of the myths that every player believes in is that you'll top deck the right answer the next time, because it's like you always like fall for it. I'll just try to.
Oh no, he has to. Oh no, he doesn't have it because they lost the 1 attack. Oh, very interesting.
Oh right. The battle cry is also gain +1 attack.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like
I thought he could kill it with the. Yeah, I thought he could kill it with the Blackened Corruptor, but that's not the case.
Yeah, because it's important to know that's a battle cry and not like a transform. Like
perfect card. Perfect card. Good. That Overload puts the Unbound Elemental to 6 attack. Not only does it one-shot the 3/6 taunt Twilight Drake, but it keeps it out of range of the 2/1 Twilight Drake in play.
That's okay. The Blackwing Corruptor still snipes it. So, in the end, as long as you can stabilize, but here's the hard thing. Forsen doesn't have an opportunity to develop Doomhammer this turn, so it's 1 turn slower. But let's see if he ends up going for... Okay, he's going for Feral Spirits. I was looking immediately at Flame Juggler and Leper Gnome as well, but I mean, Feral Spirits is a little bit more stats on the board. Plus, you can still play Doomhammer the following turn. Okay.
Yeah. All right. What do we have here? We have Alstraz's Champion, which is amazing. You can give it a bonus attack, but it's probably not worth it. I think I'd just go with the 2 Dragon Synergy cards here. champion and the Black Technician.
Okay.
Maybe.
Blackwing Technician. And Hungry Dragon's a little bit better stats, but I'm always just so afraid of the Pit Snake, or even more fearsome than the Pit Snake Crypt, the Stone Tusk Boar. You never know.
Well, it would have been pretty decent actually there. Oh, that's a bad draw.
Pretty luxurious at this point. You don't really need it unless his opponent had Harrison Jones.
Mm-hmm. I think with Doomhammer, you do want to trade a little bit here, though. The Voidwalker is actually a terrific card to get off the Hungry Dragon. It kills the 2/1, stays alive, blocks the 5 damage. You can clear every other minion on the board. Right now, it looks like he's going to have to be playing Bran and the Corruptor, which is pretty weak. I think I like the Azure Drake. But with Bran, I think I would play the Azure Drake with Bran.
I think he wants to pick up a weapon or some kind of removal, execute, slam. Not Ysera.
No. No, that Ysera has come up in very poor times so far. Alright, well, how does this look here? He's really close. Oh! That's it!
GG. Forsen closed out the series 3-1. And the Dragon Warrior once again, Crypt. 1-7?
1-7. Looks like Crush did not push it over the edge. Not good enough. I was going with the BM Flame Jug.
Cards we won't be missing.
BM
Wow, so lucky! Oh my god. I would have loved it if Forsen just ended it right there with the Flame Juggler to the face, just to kind of show him, like, yeah, I had enough, exactly to kill you.